What's going on, guys? Carter here with Edge Mindset. CJRB. I don't know why I always want to say CRJB. CJRB, which is the budget line of artisan cutlery, sent me this knife to do a review on. And they sent it to me exactly 1.5 million years ago. And I have yet to do anything with it. Here's some information about CJRB. You can pause this if you want to read it. Just kind of marketing fluff. Let's take a look at what you get. You get a box. You get some candy in there to eat at your own leisure. You've got the CJRB pouch, which is pretty cool. Zipper pouch, plastic baggie. You got your microfiber cloth. Man, I don't know who started this trend. Does anybody use these things? I sure as hell don't. A couple pouches in here, all pretty decent stuff. And then you have the knife. This is the Space Cowboy is the name of this. And it is their first collaboration with Ferrum Forge. Now, I'll be honest. Now that I know it's Ferrum Forge, I can see some resemblance there. I could say, yeah, I see it. Kind of the way that this flipper's done, how it curves up like this. Ferrum Forge is kind of cool because they've got a fairly distinct design language, and yet it's not super obvious. Like, it's not a design language that you could really describe to somebody, but you know it when you see it. But I don't know, if I didn't know it was Ferrum Forge, I don't think this would scream Ferrum Forge. And I think it's just because it's such a stripped down budget model that aside from like the silhouette, you know, there's just not much Ferrum Forginess to it. Of course, Ferrum Forge does a lot of frame locks, and this is not one. This is a button lock. So, but still, you know, it's a reasonably handsome knife. For the most part, though, I will say, TLDR, I don't particularly recommend this one. Obviously, if it speaks to you, it's cool, it's fine. You want to get it. If you want to get something that's Ferrum Forge designed that isn't super expensive, it's a great option. But I don't love it. But we'll talk about that here in a minute. Let's do some specs. 3-inch blade. Overall length is, I mean, we'll call it 7. Maybe it's like 7 1/8. Just, yeah, it's around 7 inches. So very pocketable, very carryable, very practical. Weight, 3.5 ounces. So nice and light, easy to carry. It's got G10. I think it comes in black or this kind of grayish blue. I really like the grayish blue. The scales are held on with screws right here in the middle. I mean, I don't love it. I'm not sure why they did that choice. Rather than going through the pillars here, they have screws on the liners that go through the pillars, and then they have additional screws that hold this on. I don't know. I think it always looks weird having screws in the middle of the scale here, especially when they're contrasting colors, and it's just extra parts. So now you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws right here when you only need 4, and only 4 of them are really doing anything. But that's super nitpicky. We're talking super nitpicky here. You've got a nice flat ground blade, really thin behind the edge, nice and slicey, very usable. The steel on this is their proprietary powdered steel, which I can never remember the name of it because it's weird. AR RPM 9. I don't have any direct experience with it. From what I've heard, it's pretty good. You know, it's a lower end steel. However, the fact that it's powdered is pretty cool. But it's interesting that it's proprietary. So CJRB made this particular formulation of powdered steel, and that's what they use. So this isn't steel other companies have. So it does kind of limit the pool of testing that you can do, right? Because you can only test it on these knives. But from what I understand, it's good. It's quite serviceable at this price point. You know, no issues with it at all. On the top here, you got some fake jimping. It's really completely useless. You can just barely even feel that it's not smooth steel, let alone give you any grip. So nothing there. Got a nice choil here that barely fits my sausage finger. I'm worried if I really squeeze, I would cut myself on that tip there. So I don't know how functional this is. I guess if you have really skinny, small fingers, it'll work for you. Flipper only opening. Flips pretty good. Pretty satisfactory. It's running on bearings, like you would expect. So no complaints there. This is the jimping on the flip tab is pretty good. And if you have a button lock that flips well, you know, button locks are harder to dial in because the detent isn't as crisp as a traditional ball detent. So pretty good job there. It's thin, it's small. I can get a full 4-finger grip on here, just barely. My pinky kind of hangs off this edge right there, but it feels good in the hand, very maneuverable, nice stock thickness for how big this knife is. You've got bent steel pocket clip, super deep carry. It actually protrudes past this. I hate deep carry pocket clips, but that's just me. I know a lot of people like them, so if you like them, it has it. Screws are countersunk, so that's good. You've got 2 pillars, like I mentioned before, steel liners. You know, it's a good little knife. The only thing I would say is I feel it's a little overpriced. I believe it's like $50 is what these are going for. And I'm looking at kind of MSRP. You know, I guess retailers could have them on sale and stuff, but for $50, I don't know. I think there's better budget options out there. I think there's options that perform just as well, but also look better. And maybe it's just me, but this looks very, I don't want to say cheap, but it looks very manufactured, right? I don't know. It just looks very assembly line made. It looks cheap. We'll just say that. It looks kind of cheap. And if it was $25, I would say good deal. Worth the money. Go pick one up. $25. Nice little button lock. Super fidgety, super fun to play with. Steel seems pretty good. You know, it's made well. There's no lock slip. Everything is nice and tight. Running on bearings. But for $50, I just feel that's a little high. Maybe if it looked cooler. I'm big on looks. I mean, if you follow my channel, you know that's a big part of what I'm into with knives, how it looks, the form factor. So maybe if it had a cool acid stonewash, or, I mean, I guess it wouldn't be an acid stonewash, but if it had like a PBD stonewash or something on it, if the hardware was blacked out, I don't know. If there's just more to it, I could justify the $50, but I just don't know if it's worth $50. But other than that, it's a cool little knife. It's got a cool name, Space Cowboy. Like I said at the beginning, if you're wanting to get something that's designed by Ferrum Forge, this is a very budget option to do that and get that into your collection, carry it around, start using it. You know, at this price point, if you lose this knife, I don't think your heart's going to be completely broken, but it would be less broken if it was like $30. So there's that. All right, what do you think of the Space Cowboy from CJR, CRJ, CB, CJ, CJRB? Artisan cutlery. What do you think of this little bad boy? Would you carry this? Would you buy this thing? It's okay. Oh, there's the Ferrum Forge design logo right there. All right, guys, I'm out of here. You guys take it easy. Have a good one.